Just dive in. Okay, so thank you so much. We're going to dive into our timeline work around manifesting, and just kind of like give a little bit of like in a nutshell what are we talking about. So what we can do is envision that we basically live in this quantum field of pure possibility. And I like to put it like this: like, if I chose right now to go buy a book, go book a ticket to Fiji or Australia, I could do that. I could just do that, and then I could be in Australia. Like, it's not hard, right? Like, I can make that happen. So I would put myself suddenly on a different timeline. Like, I'm not choosing that for a variety of reasons, but there's a variety of opportunities available to us at any given moment. So rather than that feel overwhelming, I think what it does is it gives us a sense of power, in the sense that that which we are desiring exists on a timeline. And as we know, when we manifest and we see it, we envision it, we speak it, right? Like, this is what I'm standing for, this is what I'm desiring, and we get that clarity. It exists on what we could call a timeline in the quantum field. And what that means in timeline wise is that, there's progression, there's actions that occur to get to the place we're talking about, right? So I want to buy a house, I'm like getting the things in motion, I'm signing papers, I'm doing this and that to get that happening. That's a timeline. Like, we are working with time, right? So in the quantum field, it exists all at once. And for us, we're going to kind of like break it down, moment to moment, right? So what we can envision is that in this field of pure possibilities, let's say you have a whole alphabet of timelines, right? So, timeline A, on this timeline, let's take the house, right? On timeline A, we're purchasing the house and everything goes great, and here we are. So we kind of did that. That's what's happening. There's other timelines where things are happening, where if I went into detail, I'm sure you could imagine all the things that could go wrong, all the ways in which it doesn't work, right? All the other scenarios. There's another scenario where we're in our old house, right? There's so many different opportunities, so many different options. There's an opportunity where we go live in Idaho. Who knows? So that said, the beauty of this is when we get the clarity about what we desire to the degree that we know on timeline A, then we can understand that all those worries, all those fears that have not happened yet, guess what? They exist. They can exist. We're just not on that timeline, right? I'm just not on that timeline where those things that could roll through our minds, our worries and fears could happen. I'm just not on there. I'm just not going to choose that, right? So when we think of it this way, and we think of timeline A, you can think of it as like a light beam, like a laser beam, like a yellow brick road, right? And you're like stepping onto this road. I'm on the path. I'm on the timeline. Any decisions that I'm making, the thought patterns that I'm having are leading me towards these goals. They're just leading me towards these things, right? And so if something shows up like a fractured knee, I'm like, okay, well, that gets to be on my timeline. There's something that's gifting me or showing me or helping me, even though it's unexpected and I didn't think I was calling that in, that's going to benefit me in some way. Maybe it's benefiting my health at a deeper level than I ever could have imagined, right? Yeah. So when I start to see a fear come in, like, oh, what if, right? What if my knee never heals and I can never run again? Okay, that's a possibility that exists on a timeline. What do I have? I'm doing the things that I know can help me. I'm not going to entertain that. I know that exists on timeline B. I'm going to send that energy. I'm going to send that thought back to that timeline B. I'm going to send it back to that other timeline. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or I can transmute that energy, transmute that fear into something of benefit. Oh, I'm worried that could happen. Well, oh, I guess I could just run my Healy right now. I could take some sort of like designed action to move me on that timeline, right? Get a hypnosis, do whatever it is, right? I can take some sort of devoted action. Yeah. So what I like about this is that we can understand that it is true. When we get that crystal clear clarity, it doesn't mean that we don't get to have some thoughts that come up, right? Or worries. It's very normal. we can just sort of see that as like interference. It's like static trying to kind of get in the way, kind of gums up the lines. It gums up that path. It gums up that laser beam. And so when we send it back, it's like a process so that these things aren't necessarily controlling us. Our thought patterns don't have to control us. We can send it back to the other timeline. So how is that kind of resonating, or how is that sounding?
Yeah.
Does it kind of make sense? Do you have any like questions about it?
No, for me, it makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's just do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So, so I've got my paper here. It's helpful if you got some paper, because we know when we get things out of our minds and onto paper and we're able to see them, it's already a tangible thing outside of ourselves, outside of our thoughts. It becomes more than a wish. It becomes a thing that exists, right? And that connects us even more with bringing that from the quantum field into our reality. So this is an opportunity to look like over, it's like a newscaster, like they used to have paper and they do this. Stocking paper. Yeah, there you go, Amy. Perfect. So, you know, picture what do you want? You want to look to December? Do you want to look to the end of the school year? Do you want to go a year out to January 2025? You can, you know, picture how far do you want to go as you're looking at, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this too. And I would just say for the first timeline, just to use a whole page, like this whole page is the timeline. So you can write things out linearly, you can draw little pictures, you can use this space however you desire to indicate what you're moving towards, what trajectory are you on, right? And we can take a moment, because I think we're kind of in that like analytical space a little bit, you know, to do our Hakalao process, take a couple breaths, you know, kind of get into that space where we're in that big vision place. So I invite you to do this with me. I like to Om. We can even give the third eye a little bit of a massage, and then take a deep inhale. You can take two more. And then just broadening our vision, I invite you just to gaze up at that 60 degrees, gazing up at a spot in front of you, whatever that might be, and taking your arms wide. So as you gaze forward, you see in your peripheral vision your fingertips, and you might even notice you can take those fingers back a little bit more, still seeing the fingers and what's in front of you, and everything in that surrounding area, right? In front of you, to the sides, the whole way out to those fingers, and then dropping your arms as you're gazing forward. In your mind's eye, you likely know what's behind you as well. You can make out the shapes, the sizes, the colors of what's behind you too. And then I invite you just to drop in, closing your eyes, and envision that you've got this dark tunnel, like the darkness behind your eyes, and this laser beam, this light beam that you are traveling, that you are on, that's taking you on your timeline. It's taking you towards your desires. These come to you however they're meant to. It's how you move on this timeline of your desires, how your body moves, how you feel. You might notice if any fears pop in, it's very normal. We'll put them on their timeline when it's time. Notice where you are. Notice what you're doing. Notice how you're just being. Are you by yourself or are there others with you? Different aspects of this new timeline. How do you feel? What's something that feels really satisfying? What's something that feels accomplished? Beautiful. And when you feel ready, I invite you to just open your eyes and just start to make your notes, write your timeline. What is happening? What are you seeing? If you have any questions come up, just let me know, speak it or put it in the comments. We're going to call this timeline A. This is the desired timeline. Now, as you go, you don't have to do this, but you might notice if you have some worries come up, make another page that says timeline B. And for this one, I encourage you to even make a line and just post the things on that line that are the worries. Okay.
Stephanie?
Yeah.
And timeline B, did you say what kind of things could go wrong or what fears? Is that right?
Yeah, it's like the kind of things that, I mean, we're just saying timeline B, it could be all sorts of different timelines, but for the sake of what we're doing, we can just put it on another timeline, like a different timeline. So it's sort of like yeah, I mean, not to overthink it, but um it's gonna be like you're here and you're like, oh yee, we timeline A, I love it. And then you got this worry come up, you're like, oh, I don't want that to happen. That's an option. That could happen. It is a world in which that occurs, and it's just down here. It's like the stuff that the worries that when you look at timeline A and you're like, I don't know about this, it's here. Does that make sense? But and I mean, that said, there could be like infinite of those, right? We're just
Uh-huh.
for the sake of this, putting them on what we'll call timeline B.
Thanks.
Or if you feel like it's completely irrelevant to timeline B, make timeline C or you can make
Okay.
other timelines too. Lost Trish.
Oh,
Oh, oh, what a bummer.
That's okay. This is like so classic. That's
Mine isn't that revealing. It's just a lot of it goes to some worry, tendency to worry about things in general, but also like things are attached to me feeling well. And that seems like this constant like desire and frustration. It's like,
Mhm.
will I feel well enough to go hiking, just without pain? And
Mhm.
it's kind of this cycle that I'm always in with
Mhm. Mhm.
not going for more because I'm stuck with
Mm.
this cycle of like trying to get, so that's kind of part of the rut.
Yeah. I just briefly, because I feel like I had a conversation like that, like this with myself today, and sort of this idea of like needing to do more and do all of this. And of course, there's like a bit of a desire, but also, I have energetic limits, and I'm finding some certain things just aren't happening because of my energetic boundaries at this time, right? So if I lean into that, then I can look more at where can I bring my focus even more to what I do have. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So like look, I took a big nap today, I was really tired and I didn't do work stuff. I just slept, and maybe I'll get that resolved with some iron infusions. But regardless, like that's how it is right now. So I'm leaning into it. I'm not trying to drink some more coffee. I'm not trying to like get that stuff done. I'm just leaning into that. I'm leaning into when I'm with my kids, like really being present with them, I'm leaning into like letting my body rest. And so not to say there isn't stuff that I want to manifest. I'm still playing with that. I'm in that playground. I'm just looking at, what is this teaching me? Is this teaching me like a different way to look at it? Is it teaching me to allow myself to ride my energy waves in the sense that like I'll take advantage of when I'm having a high moment, and if I can spontaneously go do something, I will. Can I let myself off the hook of like this churn and burn grind sort of, even the stuff we want to do, does it feel kind of grindy sometimes? Like, how can I look at my energy differently than like morality, like the general public might look at it? Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I can like just lean into the energy I have in the moment, and also look at like, is that binary? Does that mean I can't access this other stuff that I have on the timeline A that I want? My immediate feeling is no, is not binary. It doesn't mean that. It's just maybe looking at it from a different lens. I don't know. How does that land for you?
Uh, I guess it's like if you want to manifest for me feeling good, then you want to exercise. Then I exercise and then I feel crappy. So
maybe there's
it's
so
like
many.
it's fibromyalgia. It's just like you feel like you're beat up all the time.
That's a pretty,
And
yeah.
I'm going to physical therapy, for the neck, and I do I was on the elliptical. 1 minute it's just everything. So I've been going twice a week and I like going and I love wanting to get stronger. And then that's why today I'm just kind of dragged out because my whole body hurts just from trying to get better. So
Mm.
I see what you're saying, Stephanie. I'll have to work with that a bit
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I just kind of feel defeated a lot with
Mhm.
the situation.
Yeah, no, I do hear you. I do. And not that I have all the answers in this moment. And I would look at, like, I know there's a physical therapy thing, and there may be some certain things that there are depleting right now. And so if they are depleting, is there something else that you could lean into that perhaps wouldn't be depleting? Like, could it be restorative yoga? Like, could it be yin yoga? Could it be
Yeah.
something, could it be breath work? Could it be an ice bath? Could it, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
I wonder if it guides you rather than like fighting the thing that you're like, hey, I do the cardio, I'm out. Then
Yeah.
clearly, like, you're just going to keep getting that result and then feel bad about it. So
Yeah.
don't know if is it necessary at this time. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And also like cardio and stuff like that is not, I have found, I mean, I was very heavy into cardio, but I have found that it's not necessarily, I used to feel really bad and I did a ton of cardio thinking that this is what I need to do, but I have realized that I don't need to do that all the time. Sometimes I do. But
Well, I normally do no cardio. Like
yeah,
even
no,
just-
I'm sure. Yeah.
everything hurts. That was just like one thing he said to add it just a tiny bit, but even without it, it's just the same old thing.
Yeah.
Everything hurts right now. Like when I sat down, it's like I don't have anything left.
Restorative yoga is really, I've
Yeah.
done restorative yoga on days that like I just want to move, but like I'm not looking for, but I mean I go to a center, but
The dark. Uh-huh.
so
Cutie.
it
Okay,
feels
Katie.
really good. Like I just, when I come out, like I'm moving my body in these different ways, and then we do like a sound bath and stuff. But I mean, it feels good. Like I feel good, and I go in usually pretty tired because it's just not a day that I want to do much else. But I don't know. I like exercise doesn't necessarily need to be so much, is I guess my point. And
Yeah.
I just know that for myself, just
Mm.
from my experience and just how I've been trying to, because my body was hurting a lot and I'm like, what is happening? And then I realized, okay, I don't need to do all this, and I'm still a fit person and I still am moving,
Mhm.
and I mean, I do yoga. Some days I just walk for 30 minutes, sometimes 45, sometimes I walk for longer if I feel like it, but it's whatever I guess I'm feeling. But again, I know your situation's different, it's not mine, but I guess my point is it can come in different ways. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
in one, it doesn't have to be how everybody else does it. Or
Yes.
I know my way is my way, and I don't know. I don't know if other people do it my way, but there are days I don't want to exercise, and I have learned to be okay with that. And I'll still do movement, but I'm not like running or, I used to do a lot of cycling and a lot of spinning and stuff. And, I've stopped a lot of that, and I feel 10 times better
Mhm.
not having to constantly feel like I need to do that. My body feels better. But anyways, I think it's whatever you want that to be. And it doesn't have to be the elliptical, or it could be just nice stretching.
Gentle stretching. Yeah.
Gentle
Yeah.
stretching is, I do that
Yeah.
in the mornings to get my body going. Like,
Yeah.
just
I
little,
found it to be so helpful lately for me,
yeah.
because like it releases a lot of tension that you don't know is stored there.
Yeah.
Makes you get I think you still get that sort of endorphin feeling.
Mhm.
And also it's like relaxing, but also really good for your body. And it's as gentle as you want it to be, which means
Yeah.
you can really listen to what your body's saying, and you don't need to go anywhere, so you don't need to feel like you need to have the energy to get back.
Yeah.
And I do it in bed a lot of times when I'm getting
Yeah.
up. I give myself time in the morning, but I'll do like a little meditation just to kind of get my mind awake. And then I move into just, and it's all short. It's not like I'm spending hours in bed, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
helps me feel like, okay, I'm ready for my day. And, you know, I don't know, it just helps my body.
Thank
And
you.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
I like the whole idea of the rituals too,
Mhm.
of doing that movement rituals.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know Amy just had I don't know if it's work or kind of bumped off video. But that said, as Denise disappears into the dark.
I'm gonna put my light on.
You're fine, you're fine. I love seeing the little cat eyes, you know, a little shot of the cat eyes. You're good. Don't be in the dark, it's all right. But I think what we're gonna do with this, because I feel like this was sort of like enough for this time, is just to kind of take this and just observe, right? Like observe, like, oh, I see this thought coming up. What's the root? Oh, I know, there's that root. There it is. Just noticing it. One practice you can do is just sort of envision you've got this light beam, and if that comes up, you're just sending it back to a different timeline. So if I'm like up here, right? I see myself up here. I'm like, oh, there's that nickel. No one's gonna buy this. Oh, I'm gonna just send you down for this for now, just a timeline B. Yeah, that exists, and I'm gonna send you down to timeline B. And then what I'd like to do when we meet next, and I think what is happening next? Oh, next week I'm at this retreat for the middle of the week. So in 2 weeks we'll come back, and what I'd like to do is to take this and to do something in our spiritual plane, to do something in our like a kind of Akashic plane to help us sort of like instill or imprint this timeline that we desire. So you got a little time to kind of play with it, to kind of be with it, and then a practice to not only just like visually to send that other stuff to the other timeline, but actually bring it into a place for healing. So it's not exactly hypnosis, but you know, as we do energy work, it's sort of like envisioning it, seeing where it comes from, and being able to transmute it. So that's the idea for our next time together.
Oh my God, Amy left too.
I know, I don't know what. She's been on this, I know it's like midday for her. She's like at work, so if it's, you know, we've been over a little bit, so she'll get the ending and it's recorded. She'll see the end. There she is. Oh, she just missed it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well,
that's
thank
kind of the idea. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Sounds great.
It's great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Denise, did you get your hair cut?
Oh, yes, I did, but it's
Oh, you had it back. Yeah, it's great. It looks nice. Amy, you're back. We missed you.
Yeah, my phone died. I was like,
yeah. No, I was just saying, I think what we're going to do with this is just, this is like kind of a nice ending point. This is, so for over the next we're going to meet in 2 weeks. And what I'd like to do then is sort of like a ritual around this, so that we can really take especially the imprint of the timeline that we're desiring and kind of like physically like get ourselves on that in the Akashic space, like in our timeline space. And then also in the meantime, when you see this loop, when you see the timeline B stuff show up, we've acknowledged it. Like we kind of understand where it's coming from. So just letting us just observe it, right? For now, just observe it and then envision you're sending it down to timeline B. Like, oh, I see you, I'm going to send you down. So we're actually going to do like a practice when we meet to kind of alchemize this energy a bit more. But I think it's a nice practice, like that awareness in and of itself brings a little bit of release and relief, you know? So that's the idea. And again, feel free to come on in to our group and let us know how it's going. Amy, I really would enjoy some card pulls to see some more. So
yeah. And I'll post the one from today as well.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thanks, you guys. It's
Thank
great to see
Yeah,
you.
it's so nice to see you all.
Yeah, it really was. It's always just really loving.
Yeah, so special. So nice to have you guys in my life for the last, how long now? I don't know, 3 years.
over oh yeah,
it 3 years?
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Is it
Yeah, it's
We
2
need-
years.
It's almost 3 years.
2 or 3?
Is it 3 years?
Wow.
I
Or is
know
it
that I
2021? It could have been 21.
Wow.
the first
2
person
years.
I reached out to when I started, like I got on Insight Timer, like within 2 weeks, I think I reached out to Stephanie. And then since then I guess it's been 3
Oh,
years. Oh my gosh, have we been on, have I been doing this for 3 years? I don't
Your
know.
anniversary. I love it so much. We need to like do
Yeah.
something special to, I know I was thinking about this, like we've been together for a while. And if we look back at like where we were and what we thought about or knew spiritually, you know, what we were accessing to now, it's just, oh, it's everything. It's
Mm.
really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, I feel, it's been I can speak for myself. It's been such a journey, but it's been such a good one. I feel
Yeah.
like every little step, every little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being
And I'm
comfortable in my
thinking,
own skin is such a big
yeah.
deal. I was so uncomfortable in it for so long, for my whole life. So yeah.
That just
Yeah.
is everything. That's it. That's it. That's like that's it. It's like, that's it. That's all day. Oh, it's so good. Well, beautiful. Well, I'll see you in the group and see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, ladies. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.